Alright, today we are making my absolute favorite flavor of ice cream. Growing up, it was always my favorite. And growing up, it was always green. And then Breyers, I think it was, started to come out with white. And I could never figure out how do you make it taste like mint and it's white. But anyways, I figured out later that it's food coloring that makes it green. So I'm talking about the flavor of a mint chocolate chip. Like I said, one of my favorites. I've got an easy recipe to make it. The chocolate ice cream I make is easy. This stuff here is even easier to make, and it has pretty good results. What we're going to need for this recipe is we're going to need 2 cups of 2% milk. We're going to need 2 cups of heavy cream, a cup of sugar, a half teaspoon of salt, a full teaspoon of vanilla, a full teaspoon of peppermint, and then I got semi-sweet chocolate chips, but we won't need those until the end. Just like ice cream before, we got to make the mix up the day before so everything can get chilled and get cold. So that's what we're going to do today, and then tomorrow we'll get out the ice cream freezer and we'll get things mixed up. Let me reset the camera so I can get to a point of where we can pour these ingredients together, show you how that works, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, like I said, we're going to start out with, actually we're going to start out with 1 cup of sugar. That way the sugar doesn't get stuck inside there. And then we're going to add 2 cups of 2% milk. So what do you say about that for healthy? 2% instead of whole milk. Actually, you can use whole milk. It's just got a little higher fat content in it. And sometimes when you make this ice cream with that, you end up with waxy kind of stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not offensive. But you can tell the difference between 2% and whole milk. So save yourself some fat. Use the 2%. That's what it calls for. And Lord knows we just put a cup of sugar in there, and we're getting ready to dump 2 cups of heavy cream in there. So I wouldn't exactly call this diet food. And that's 2 cups of heavy cream. And then we're going to have a half a teaspoon of salt. Put that in there. And then we're going to go with a full teaspoon of vanilla and a full teaspoon of peppermint. And if you want, you can put green food coloring in here. I choose not to. No other reason than white mint chocolate chip ice cream amazes me. So, you know, food that comes with a puzzle, that's always good. And then we're going to put 1 teaspoon of peppermint in there. Be careful with that. Peppermint's actually poisonous. So you don't want to get carried away with that and say, I really like peppermint ice cream, and make you some stuff that will kill you. But there you go. Now all we're going to do is we're going to stir this up real good. And once we get it stirred up real good, we're going to make a lid. I use aluminum foil because I don't have the lid to this container. We're going to make a lid. We're going to set it in the refrigerator and let it sit overnight. And like I said, tomorrow I'll pull out the ice cream freezer and we'll get this stuff frozen up and see what it turns out like. Alright, I've gotten the mix out of the refrigerator. It's been in there overnight, sitting on the bottom shelf, getting as cold as you can. I think this makes 1 batch. I haven't made this since last summer, so I think this only makes 1 batch in this freezer. We'll have to wait and see. But go ahead and get your freezer turned on. Pour the mix in. Yeah, that's going to give me just 1 freezer of that. Now we're going to do the chocolate chips like we did strawberries. We're going to wait and get this ice cream frozen and transfer it out of there into another container, and then we will add the chips. But I'll show you how I do that. We'll just let this freezer go until this ice cream gets frozen. I'll bring it back and show you putting the chips in. Alright, you see this ice cream maker spazzing out. That's what it does. That's what yours may do when it's gotten as far as it's going to go. That's it. It won't turn ice cream anymore. It's gotten as frozen as it's going to get. So let's get this thing off of here. Get the paddle out. Get this ice cream out of here and get our chocolate chips added to it. That's the easiest way to get that off. See if I can get that out of the way. Put this back into its place. Did a pretty good job of freezing it this time. That chocolate, it didn't freeze as well as it did this, but oh well, it doesn't really matter. Putting it in the freezer is when it probably sitting in front of the camera while I'm doing that. I'm sorry, folks. Sometimes I make things harder than they need to be, it seems. I don't know what the story is with that, but I have a tendency to get myself into situations. Alright, you want to scrape all that ice cream out that you can get out. So, there you go. We got the mixed ice cream there. Now it is going to be time to add the chocolate chips. And I'm going to end up using two different kinds, to be honest with you. I'm going to put these in here. These are some special darks I have left. And then I have some semi-sweets I got in the refrigerator. Well, actually, these are milk chocolate. I thought I picked up semi-sweet, but obviously not. But you don't want to get too much. I think that's a mistake you make when you make this homemade ice cream. You want to put a lot in there, and you don't want a ton. You want ice cream. You don't want chocolate. You know, just nothing but chocolate. But yeah, just give these chocolate chips a good stir in there. We'll set it in the freezer and let it set up a little bit more, and voila, you'll have mint chocolate chip ice cream. One of my favorites growing up. Maybe that's strange, you know. Most kids like chocolate vanilla, but I was a big mint chocolate chip fan. So there you are, folks. I hope you try it. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.